Okay then, I'm back with another video. This is going to be quick and to the point, and this article isn't going to be too long. But with that being said, let's get into it. This is, once again, another installment of Stupidity in the Gamosphere, and we're talking about the fact that Nintendo Switch owners are going to have to pay more for Rhyme. Now, I don't mind waiting for a knockoff bootleg Legend of Zelda game. I mean, I wasn't going to get it anyway, but if I was, I damn sure wouldn't pay an extra $10 for it. It's already $29.99. If you're a Switch owner, you'll have to pay $39.99. That is a FU to those people. So here we go. Let's read this article. Adventure title Rhyme will launch on the Nintendo Switch after other systems and will cost more. It has been confirmed today. This article is from yesterday, 12 p.m. The puzzle-based title, which takes around 10 hours to finish, will arrive on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC on May 26th, costing $29.99. Okay, let's just round it up, $30. 35 euros, so roughly around $30. Shortly afterward, the game will launch on the Nintendo Switch in both digital and physical forms with a higher suggested retail price of $40 or 45 euros. Quite why this should be the case is anyone's guess. The Switch version isn't being advertised as having any unique content compared to the other versions. The wait may have something to do with the fact that it's being ported like Tantalus, the Australian developer behind The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Rhyme was previously confirmed for a May release on Switch. Now, this information came from the publisher, not the developer, so who's to say what's going on? But I'm going to give you my take right now. Basically, if you'll remember correctly, this game was originally slated as being a PS4 exclusive. And then the developers and the publisher went quiet for about a year. And then it got pushed back and delayed for another 6 to 7 months. So basically, what we have to say is, what I think happened is that it was supposed to be a PS4 exclusive. Maybe that deal fell through. They went over budget, so they had to put it on other consoles. And now they're still going to be in the red if it doesn't sell all that well. So they're thinking in their head, well, if we put it on this new platform where you have some casuals who bought the Switch and might not be that aware of price cognizant, they'll spend $40 for a $30 game. Here's my problem. Okay, this game Rhyme is essentially a bootleg Wind Waker, except not nearly as long and doesn't have the depth or the gameplay. So I can get the Wind Waker HD for $20 on the Wii U. I know what you're saying, but that's a last-gen console. Not really. The Wii U is an 8th-gen console, like the PS4 and the Xbox One. I can get a 50-hour game, 30 to 50-hour game for $20, but it's more expensive on, but a game comparable to that it's actually ripping off with less content, less game length, everything like that, is charging $10 more on the Xbox One and the PS4, and on this new generation console, it's charging you an extra $10 on top of that. Yeah, it's shit like this is the reason Nintendo gamers don't like third parties. Shit like this. This is the reason. This is why. And the only thing I can say is, I really don't feel bad about it. I mean, I'm not buying it. I wouldn't buy it if it was the only game on the console. Primarily because, I mean, from what I understand about Rhyme, it's a bootleg knockoff Legend of Zelda game. So, I mean, but it's shit like this that makes Nintendo gamers not like games, not like third parties. And the worst thing is some of the excuses I'm hearing about people. Well, it's probably more expensive to develop for this hardware. From what we've heard from numerous indie developers, the Switch is very easy to develop for, very easy to port to from the Xbox One, to the Switch, from the PC to the Switch, and I'm guessing for the PS4 to the Switch. So I don't want to hear that. Well, what about physical things? Well, actually, considering the format, it's comparable to how much it cost to print CDs back in the day, which was relatively cheap. So I don't want to hear that either. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no excuse for it. And with that being said, we'll move on to our next topic after the cut. All right, we're back, and this is On the Verge. It's written by James Vincent, and basically, this is some Nintendo news for those of you who has a Switch. Nintendo says Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Video will come in time for the Switch. Not in time for the launch, though. That's the nice little dig you got in there, James Vincent. Asshole. So, a big criticism of the Nintendo Switch has been the absence of non-gaming features, including support for streaming apps like Netflix. The company addressed this issue in January, telling fans this functionality was being considered. And speaking to the Washington Post this morning, Nintendo America's Chief Operating Officer, Reggie Fils-Aimé, reiterated these promises, but didn't offer a direct timeline. Didn't offer a firm timeline. We're talking to a range of companies about other services. Companies like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, things that will come in time, so speaking of. In our view, these are not differentiators, okay? What differentiates us is the way you play with the Nintendo Switch and what you can play. And that will continue to be our focus into the future as we continue driving this platform. Okay then. Sorry for the stuttering, but I more often than not read these words, not say them out loud, but whatever. Read them, silently and not say them out loud. Fils-Aimé has also defended the lack of launch games for the Switch, saying that the long-term view will be more important in defining console success. My answer is to look at the games that have been announced and are in development, and that should drive your purchase decision, he told the Post. So far, these factors don't seem to be denting consumers' enthusiasm, though. Early reports say that the Switch has sold more in 2 days in the Americas than any other Nintendo Switch system, although we don't have any firm numbers for that claim. If Nintendo wants to secure the Switch's future, though, adding streaming services and maybe a web browser are a must. No shit, Einstein. Okay, I'll give you my take right now. Basically, they're right, okay? The Switch needs to appeal to a larger market. The Wii U was too core initially, and that kind of inhibited it. This needs to appeal to the mass market. And so in order to do that, you need to have casual shit that casuals would like. And casuals, people would casually like to be able to have a web browser. It would be cool to have a web browser because, the way my setup is for my PC is like I have my main monitor here, my tower, and over here I have my screen that I play my games on. I also have another, my man cave over there with the big screen floor model with wheels that, is big and unwieldy. I play the big games over there. Like when I want to play Smash Brothers on a massive screen, that's where I play. But if I'm just capturing game footage or I just want to play Breath of the Wild and I don't feel like doing it, I just put it right here. And it works. Works perfectly. But it would be nice if I'm playing Breath of the Wild here that I could, hit the home button and go to a web browser and look something up, right? It would be nice if I could watch Netflix through my console, because believe it or not, yeah, I did use Netflix for my PS3 and my Wii and my Wii U. As a matter of fact, that was one of the highlights of the Wii U for me, is that I could basically use my secondary charger near my bed with the extra long cord, put the shit into my tablet, and watch my Netflix while in bed. That was a highlight for me. And so yes, it would be nice to have these types of features on this console. It seems a little bit worrisome that this wasn't, if not day one, they were like concrete information about when these things were coming. Because, like I said, these aren't necessary. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a game console. The most necessary thing about it is that does it play games? Are those games playing well? Okay, that's it. But the little side binnies, it's like you don't need a car that has air conditioning. You don't need it, but it's a little odd if you don't have air conditioning. It's a little odd that, this car, I mean, you don't need a radio in a car, but it's a little odd that it's, the radio only gets 2 stations. Like, that's kind of weird, So, with that being said, the Switch is an awesome console. It has a lot of potential. I mean, I want to see what they're going to do with this potentially in the future. So, with that being said, we'll move on to the main topic, which is going to be my 3 rules about emulation, because there's been some chatter in some of my videos, well, one video in particular where I talk about how they're having a little bit of trouble getting the Breath of the Wild running smoothly with an emulator. My 3 rules and how I feel about emulation as a whole, after the cut. So, I have 3 rules for emulation, alright? I'm just going to keep it 100% real with you. My 3 rules are very simple and to the point, alright? My 3 rules of emulation, I derived these rules after really thinking about, as a business owner, do I want people stealing my shit, and is it that big of a deal? So, I put myself in the shoes of the business, the product, and, accessibility. That's what it boils down to. Accessibility and age of the product. So, here are my 3 rules. First rule, emulation is okay if what you're playing is it's not accessible to you via location. So right now, this is me playing, emulating, I should say, the Super Castlevania 4, but the Japanese version, which has more blood and gore, and the busts of the statues in one of the levels are nude, and it's got the dungeon level that in the American version is the sewer is actually like a torture dungeon where there's blood and gore everywhere. It's actually kind of cool. So, I mean, if I want to play this game, now I have the physical copy of this game as well, but I don't have a standard definition capture card, so if I want to capture footage of this game, the only choice I'd really have is to do this. Now, if I want to play this game, and I did not have access to the original hardware, that's it. I mean, that's all I could really do, is play this game via emulation, or, some people might do EverDrives, but, I mean, you still need the original hardware in order to do that. So this is the closest I can get to playing this game. And, if I have those circumstances. And I'm not going to be like, oh my god, how dare you play a game like this. This is one of my rules. You can emulate if you just, accessibility-wise, the game was never released in your area. The second reason for emulation, in my opinion, my second rule, which is basically, well, hey, this game was released in my area, but, it was heavily censored, or there's content missing. For example, the definitive version of Final Fantasy IV, aka Final Fantasy II in America, is the Japanese version. The American version has some cut content and some cut storylines. So if you want to get the best version of that game, you kind of have to have the Japanese version. I mean, I have both. The Japanese version I basically ripped it with a ROM ripper like 3 years ago, patched the ROM, put it on an EverDrive, and that's how I play it. And I'm okay with that because I like Final Fantasy games, and I wanted to play the definitive version with the cursing and the nudity and the, you know, everyone's like, oh my god, how dare you play? Oh, it is. But I mean, like, here's the thing. The EverDrive itself that I have cost me at the time $35, and that was like 6 years ago. And I mean, the EverDrive cost me $35. The actual physical game cost me $40 in Japan, but it was not in the best of shape. The Famicom version, the Super Famicom version of Final Fantasy II. And the software to rip and copy my the Ripper cost me, I want to say, $45 plus $15. So basically, in order to play the definitive version of Final Fantasy II, aka Final Fantasy IV in America, I had to basically spend 65 plus 35 is 100 plus plus 40 for the game, so that's $140. The average person does not have that type of cash just to spend to play the definitive version of a title. So, I mean, if it's price prohibitive for you to do that, then go ahead. You know, Joe Blow doesn't have access to that. The third reason that I would say is acceptable to basically emulate is the game. Was the game ever released in your area? Now, there are games that I really want to play that were never released in America. For example, Terranigma. Terranigma was never released in America. If you want to play that game, you have to either do one of two things. You have to either import a PAL region of Pacific, Australia, the Polynesian, Australian islands area. You have to either import one of those and get a European PAL region thing, or else. So essentially speaking, you have to go through all these troubles just to friggin' play this game, and that is a pain in the ass. That's a pain in the patootie. That's a pain in the butt. All right, and I mean, a PAL SNES nowadays would cost you on eBay, I think, $300, $400. That's cost prohibitive for the average person. So, if you want to emulate that game, go ahead. Now, here are my no-nos, okay? If you want to emulate something that is relatively recent, that means a console that was released within the last decade or so, a game that was released within the last decade or so, especially a home console game, I kind of have a problem. I'm not cool with that. So, I mean, you're welcome to have a debate in the chats with it, to tell me what would be your reasons to emulate something. Better graphics, I'm sorry, is not a valid excuse. I'm sorry. Because, I mean, like, yes, I could emulate Super Mario Brothers 3, or I could get Super Mario All-Stars, which is basically arguably an HD up-res, a higher definition up-resolution of an 8-bit game into a 16-bit game. But I mean, I could download it, and I could download the ROM and just emulate it and up-res an 8-bit game to a 16-bit game. But why? That makes no sense. So, with that being said, stay tuned. I'll have some information about upcoming events and this weekend BS Busters. That'll be the next video. Thank you. Have a good day.